We took our kids to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, and I have 10 essential tips for you to make the most out of this magical experience. Hello, and welcome to Family Ever After, where our mission is to help your family thrive and make unforgettable memories on your next Disney vacation. My name is Christina, and if you're planning on going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party either this year or in the future, I have some awesome tips for you. And I'll share how we planned our night and also what we would have done differently. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is a separate ticketed event starting in mid-August through Halloween. And the closer you get to Halloween, the more expensive tickets are. They could be up around $200 per adult. Party starts at 7 p.m., but you can arrive as early as 4 p.m., which is really cool to make the most out of your time there. And it lasts until midnight. So keep that in mind when you're bringing your kids. They'll get tired. The event includes trick-or-treat trails, Boo to You parade, Hocus Pocus stage show, rare and unique characters, exclusive snacks for the party, some ride overlays, and other live entertainment. And to warn you now, this event does sell out. When we went there last night, it was a sold-out event. So make sure you purchase your tickets far in advance. All right, so let's get started with these tips. Okay, tip number 1. Choose your priorities. There is so much going on at this event, there's no time to do it all. It's a 5-hour event. So are you going to prioritize the shows? Are you going to prioritize those character meet and greets? Are you going to prioritize candy and snacks? Or are you even going to go just on rides because of the low wait time? Figure out what is the highest priorities for you and your family. Ours were the shows and candy, some treats, and my kids just want to do rides. And I'll explain our plan of attack later on in this video. Also note that we are in Florida. It rains a lot, especially during this time of year. So shows or parades can get canceled. So if those are priority to you, I recommend doing those first. So they're done, you've seen them, and you can go do other things. Okay, tip number 2. Take your priorities and find out the times and locations for all of them. And you can easily do this online. At the time of this filming, the parade is 2 times, one at 8:15 and the other at 11:15. The Hocus Pocus stage show is at 9:05, 10:35, and midnight. And the best time to watch that is actually at midnight, so you're not using up party time to watch this 20-minute show. And then the fireworks just happen once, and those are at 10 p.m. But you can also check the food guide and see which treats and snacks that you want to try and find out where those are located, and that will help you navigate the night and determine when to go grab one of those. Like, find a spot for the parade, one of you go get a snack and meet back, and you can eat it while you wait. It didn't work as well for us, but again, I'll get to that later. Now, tip number 3, prepare for weather. As I said before, we are in Florida. It is hot, especially if you go to the Halloween parties mid-August. Even through Halloween, it's still warm. So keep that in mind when you're trying to choose your costume. Also, it is hurricane season, so it's going to rain. Hopefully, it won't rain during the party, but if it does, it happens. So prepare for all kinds of weather. For the heat, make sure you have those fans, neck fans, stroller fans, cooling cloths, and have those water bottles so you can drink lots and lots of water. Or rain, make sure you have your ponchos, your umbrellas, your stroller covers. And actually the links to the items that we use are in the description below. And when you use those links, they support this channel. So thank you very much. Okay, tip number 4, choose your costume wisely. Comfort is key. You are spending a lot of money for this event, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on a costume that's just going to make you uncomfortable and miserable the whole night, you know? You know what I'm saying? So choose costumes that are made of cotton or a light fabric. Avoid long sleeves and layers. And wear something that you don't mind sweating in or getting wet in, because it's going to happen one way or the other. So here are our costumes. Can you guess what we're dressed as? If you guessed the Healer family from Bluey, you'd be right. We were actually the only family dressed like the Bluey characters. So we had Mum, which was me, my husband was Bandit, my 9-year-old was Bluey, my 6-year-old was Bingo, and our 1-year-old was Muffin. Okay, and tip number 5, along the same lines, bring backup costumes or backup clothes. Because if you get too uncomfortable in what you're wearing, or your kids get too uncomfortable, you're gonna want something to change into. So have like a Halloween t-shirt and some shorts or something like that that's still festive, but much more comfortable than a costume. Like Danielle, she was dressed as Muffin and she was adorable, but she was just so hot and uncomfortable. So she transformed from Muffin to Sleeping Beauty, and we had a Aurora onesie as a backup for her. Okay, now tip number 6. Do pictures first. We made a mistake and we didn't. You look adorable and your family looks awesome and you want to remember that and you want to get a picture of all of you together. Do it first. If you wait till the end of the night, your kids are going to be tapped out and not feeling like a picture. So you can even take advantage of those pre-party hours between 4 and 7 and get a great group family picture right there on Main Street in front of the castle. Or you can do pictures with one of the characters, and the lines are usually longer for characters at the beginning of the night, but if there's a character that you really, really want to see, I recommend doing that, and that way you can get the full family picture before everyone is exhausted. And here's a little bonus tip. As we were leaving the party after midnight, we noticed that there were still a lot of PhotoPass cast members on Main Street taking pictures of people with the castle in the background. So you could do that if you know you're going to be up for it at the end of the night. So you're not waiting in line during party hours to get your picture taken, and you still get that spooky vibe there on Main Street. But if you want to look your best in your picture, you might want to do it at the beginning of the night. Okay, tip number 7, feed your kids before the party. You can either eat before you arrive or use those non-party hours between 4 and 7 to get a meal there, because there won't be any meals, especially for kids, available during the party. There'll be a number of snacks and treats and things like that. But if you want your kids to have a more substantial meal, or you yourself have a substantial meal, I recommend eating before the party. Tip number 8, if trick-or-treating is very important to you and you want to get your money's worth in candy, then I recommend bringing a tote. So when you arrive at the party, they give you a wristband to mark you as being a party guest, as well as a party guide with a map, and also a little trick-or-treat bag they give to each one of you. And it's really nice. Like, it's decent. It's a lot better than they used to have. But, you know, as you can see, it's small. So what we did is we brought 2 tote bags. We just ended up using one. But it was a full-size tote bag that we bought at parties in the past. And when this little guy got full, we poured it into here. And then we had little empty ones that we would go around to do trick-or-treating with. So, yeah, if candy is important to you, bring a tote bag. We ended up getting 17 pounds of candy, so keep that in mind when you're boarding the plane back home. Okay. Tip number 9, take your kids to those dance parties. There are a few different dance parties. There is the Disney Junior Dance Party, and I think Caroline Max was there too at some point, as well as the Descendants Dance Party, or Descend Dance Party. My 9-year-old is a big fan of Descendants, and I love it too, so we had fun there. And they just burned off energy. That they stopped complaining about the heat and how tired their legs were, and they just ran around and danced, kind of. and they had a great time. So that's a great place to take your littles. And finally, tip number 1 is to just check your attitude and be flexible. You may be uncomfortable in your costume. The weather may be making you feel uncomfortable. You spent a lot of money to be there and you want to get as much in as you possibly can. There's a sense of urgency that you have to do everything now, now, now. But then baby's crying because she needs a diaper change, or your kid just won't stop complaining that their legs are tired. Things can spiral quickly. It was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to do the first couple hours of the party because we wanted to do everything, but like I said, there's just not enough time, and kids were complaining, especially my baby was crying. So we kind of had a tough time figuring things out. But when we were like, okay, girls, what do you want to do? You want to go on a ride? Let's go on a ride. Then they really cheered up. I know you've paid a lot of money for this party, and I know there's a lot to do and there's a sense of urgency, but just remember your family is way more important than the experience. And if you put your family first, everything will go a lot smoother and you'll have a lot more fun. And you'll still get to experience a lot of the party. Okay, so this is our itinerary that we did last night, and it didn't go entirely as planned. So we got there at 6 o'clock and got our wristbands, went down the starting candy trail where they give you the bags, and we saw Cruella de Vil, and we thought that we were going to be in trouble because we were dressed as dogs, but thankfully she didn't notice, so we just went on by. And then we went to Casey's Corner to get the Halloween exclusive. These were available before the party started, so we were able to get them, and they were really good. I got the loaded fries, and my husband got the loaded corn dogs, and both were great. They had a little bit of heat to them, and it was just really delicious. I would totally get this again. And the corn dogs were also good. I felt like the corn dogs were their own flavor. The pumpkin cheesecake, which I gotta say, it was quite delicious. I didn't really taste much pumpkin flavor as much, but it was still cheesecake. And then after we ate, we went into Adventureland and we did the treat trails there, and we went on Pirates of the Caribbean and it was walk on essentially. Most of the rides will be walk on, so that's really cool about the party. I did another treat trail, and then we found a spot for the parade. We watched the parade from Frontierland, and we stood in front of Pecos Bill's. It was nice because the sidewalk a little elevated so you can see over some people. Powerline Max, if you're looking for him, he does start the parade, but only on Main Street. So I was a little disappointed because I thought that we would get to see him, and we didn't. But we saw everything else. My husband went to go get the flatbread, which sounded amazing. But by the time he got there, the Headless Horseman was just coming down the street. So I didn't really have a chance to eat it while waiting for the parade because the parade was starting. The flatbread was really good. No, it was okay. I didn't really taste very much of the fall flavors that I was hoping for. There was a lot of lettuce on top, and that just kind of overpowered the flatbread. So it wasn't my favorite. I much prefer the fries. And my husband got the drink, and it was very, very sweet. In the lighting, it looks like a fall-like drink. It isn't. It's a juice and Halloween-themed sprinkles. And then we watched the parade, the Boo to You parade, and it was really cool to see a lot of characters. There's pirates. This is the only time you really get to see Captain Barbossa, and there's Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope and Haunted Mansion characters, and the Gravediggers are one of the best parts of the show because they drag their shovels and create sparks. Which is really loud, so if you have babies, just know that it's going to be loud for them. And then of course the villains, which are always fun to see at a Halloween party. We walked to the front of the castle to watch the Hocus Pocus show. Now, the first Hocus Pocus show, because I wasn't sure if it was going to rain. And that was a priority for me, seeing this show. Still a fantastic show, and I recommend seeing it if you've never seen it before, but you've seen Hocus Pocus, watch the stage show. And it was just a really fun time. And the music, oh, I love it. At that point, everyone was hot and tired. It was only 9:30. We still had 2.5 hours of the party to go. So we headed over to Tomorrowland and did the Monsters Inc. treat trail. There are funny things that happened in there. You can just sit and watch if you want. You may get on camera, you never know. And then we heard the fireworks starting as we were exiting, so we got on the People Mover. So the girls could go on a ride, and I could kind of watch the fireworks. They were still really loud though, so Danielle was not having it. She was really upset most of the ride as the fireworks were going. My husband and Isabel went to on Tron. It was a 20-minute wait. Their whole experience on Tron, from the waiting to the ride itself and the pre-shows and everything, ended up taking 45 minutes. So just know that might be eating up some exclusive party time by going on the ride. But it's a lower wait time. So if that's a priority for you, just know that you're gonna be missing some of the party. Ariel and I watched the Descendants party, and that was really cool because they just danced to the music. And then after they finally got off the ride, like I said, 45 minutes later, we now have a tote full of candy at this point because we did other treat trails. Yeah, the rides that we did during the night actually were not party exclusive rides. They just happened to have shorter wait times, so that's why we did them. But the rides with party exclusive features are like Space Mountain, which is completely black. You could kind of hear it when you're on the People Mover. There are no lights, no stars, no nothing, and there's creepy Halloween music while you're on the ride. The other Halloween themed overlay is at the Teacups, and they just play music and do fun lights there. So we didn't do either of those. I don't know why. We just ran out of time. So see, you can't do everything. That's okay. What I wish we did differently was that I wish we got a picture at the beginning of the party. So I'm telling you, get your pictures done first. And I wish we did more character experiences. My girls don't love characters because they get really shy around them. But at the same time, I really wish we did it anyways, because like Stitch in an Elvis costume, when are you going to see that? Jack and Sally have the longest lines usually. It gets shorter later in the night. It's usually pretty long in the beginning, but they're very popular. There's also Mirabelle and Bruno that would be nice to see. And I wish we got into Fantasyland to see what was there. I didn't even make it into Fantasyland, but I hear there were villains inside those treat trails in Fantasyland, so oh well. So yeah, I wish we saw more characters, and most importantly, I wish we got our picture taken at the beginning of the night as a family. So yeah, those are our tips. And that is what our experience was like. So I hope you found this helpful for your next trip and when you go to Mickey's Not So Scary Party, either this year or in the future. If you like this video, check out our other fall theme video where we go to the Food and Wine Festival happening at Epcot at this time of year. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a magical day. Bye.